Morning.
I was telling Larry that I was a college professor for 40 years. Well, I don't look that old, but anyway, humor me, for 40 years. And I always taught the classes that everybody had to take, but nobody wanted to take. I taught law and research. And when I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock, because I came in from Lori to get ready to be here, I thought, gosh, this reminds me of that. This is very different, though, because you're not 100 hungover college students at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like assuming. I'm trying to be kind, but you're not 100 college students that they're trying to cram law and research into. Thank you for driving this morning for us. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. We are the Westside Senior Center. We are in Lori. We are on Highway O. Just by virtue of what we're going to talk about this morning.
There we go.
By golly, there it is. We'll just do an overview in the center, who we are, what we are, our programs and our services, community impact and partnerships that we have, and then how this group, how Rotary can get involved. We're excited this year. We can go to the next one. This is our 30th anniversary. So we have been serving senior citizens on the west side of the lake for 30 years. Because of where we are located, we serve both Morgan and Camden counties, and that will figure prominently into what I'll tell you here in just a second. We are also a registered 501c3 with the state of Missouri. We have our federal tax number, so we're all fine there. So that you have a little bit of an understanding where our funding comes from. Again, because of where we are located, we are funded, thankfully, it keeps us living, by both the Morgan County and Camden County senior tax boards. So we're very fortunate in that the Camden County Senior Tax Board gives us $40,000 a year. The Morgan County Senior Tax Board gives us $45,000 a year for a total of $85,000. We ask for a suggested donation of $5 from our folks that come in for lunch. Again, suggested donation, and that's folks that are 60 and over. We turn no one away for inability to pay. So again, suggested donation. If folks can join us, if you're younger than 60, and again, as you can imagine, we're mostly folks that are over 60. But for folks that are under 60 that like to join us, it's $7 suggested donation for them. So that brings in about $44,000 a year. Then there's an additional $60,000 to $65,000 a year that we have to raise every year. To give you a little bit of quick background, we were affiliated with Aging Best. Aging Best is our agency on aging for Central Missouri. Aging Best, because of their own administrative issues and government cuts and things of that nature, told us back in June that they would no longer be doing administration for any of the 23 centers for which they're responsible, which meant that we had to hire an administrator. There's no extra funding for that. So that's another $30,000 a year that we had to spend for a part-time administrator. So that caused some issues. We also lost our state and federal funding when that occurred as well. So that means that we're getting funding from the 2 county tax boards, but any money that we were getting from the state and federal went away at that point. So that's another reason why, we're about 65,000 a year that we're trying to raise. As board president, I am writing grants as fast as my little legs will carry me. But as any of you that have dealt with grants know, You put a lot of time on those applications and they may see daylight and they may not. You know, you don't know. It's like the lottery. If you don't play, you know you're not going to win, but there's no guarantees with that. So we try, and those fans are more competitive now than they've ever been. So, you know, that's something else that we're considering. I was trying to think of a way. It's like, how do we move ourselves beyond a hand-to-mouth situation? What's our best possibility for ensuring the longevity of the center? As you understand, being from this area, you know, my concern is we're sitting out there off of, you know, O Road. Where do our folks go? You know, if heaven forbid we were to go away, where would they go? We're talking a lot of 80 and 90-year-old people here that can't drive, shouldn't drive, have a hard time driving. There's one lady, it's like if you see her coming, give her a wide berth, y'all. God love her, she kind of bounces off things. Or where would they go? So we're trying to figure out a way. So what we have done thus far, and I just filled the paperwork out on it about 2 weeks ago, is we have formed a community agency partnership with the Community Foundation of the Lake. Stacy Purtle and her folks, they are phenomenal. It will be an endowed account. Now, you know, we're all realistic here. It's going to take that some time to build to where we could conceivably live off the interest on that. But if you don't start it, you're never going to get there. And we're also going to look at a planned giving campaign as well to try to help us feed that account and try to help us, you know, move it along. In the interim, however, this is where we are. So we're still at that point of needing to do that fundraising every year, every way that I can possibly think to make that happen. We can go ahead and advance it. Thank you. Boy, you're ahead of me. Way to go. Good job. We are about, obviously, people think senior centers, they think feeding people. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that probably is our main mission. But it's more than their tummies. It's their tummies, it's their heads, it's their hearts. A lot of our folks, you know, as I said, in their 70s, 80s, our oldest lady that comes in is 95, Miss Marty. She's a doll. She's a treasure. And, you know, I told her family who were visiting from Kansas, they said, you know, we are so grateful to know that you folks are here. If our regulars, if we don't see them for a couple of days, we call. And we say, are you all right? Do you need something? We haven't seen you. We miss you. We know these people. We love on them. So when they come in, it's about more than just here's your lunch. You know, it's about really trying to help them out and see how they're doing. In many cases, they're alone. Their families are not near, or there's another situation going on, or whatever, but for whatever reason. Many of them are widowed or widowers. Many of them, you know, as we'll talk about here in a sec, might not celebrate holidays, might not celebrate birthdays because there's nobody there to do it with, and it just hurts too bad. So we're trying to make sure that they have as good a quality of life as possible by helping with that sort of thing. And we'll get to that specifically. But what we are targeting here, what we are striving for is healthy, active, engaged seniors. So it is about more than just their tummies. It's certainly about their tummies, but it's about more than that. So you see up here all the different parts of our mission. We are centrally accessible, as I said. We are on State Highway O. We're about 2.5 miles off of 5. So if you hang a turn, the only way you can go, unless you want Chinese food, at the light, we're 2.5 miles down O Road right there. Very easily accessible from both Morgan and Camden counties. We are very ADA compliant. The floor plans are very open. The building was planned with accessibility in mind. So we think about trip hazards, we think about people with wheelchairs. A lot of our folks use canes or use walkers, and we're trying to think, how do we do that? There are handicapped accessible restrooms. There's handicapped accessible parking. Our downstairs area, lower level, we're built into a hill, so you can come around back, and there are 3 doors that access the lower level. The lower level is, we can rent that out. There is a fully equipped kitchen down there. There's a dance floor down there. There's a carpeted area for whatever. There's a stage. There are another set of handicapped accessible restrooms. There are showers. I don't know what they were thinking. When they put the building together, but there are showers downstairs. If anybody wants to come take a shower, come on out, and we can hook you up with that. There's also an AED upstairs, so heaven forbid if we ever need that, it's there. So it is accessible, it is ADA compliant, multifunctional spaces for both dining and meeting and all sorts of things. So it's a great space. As I said, we are about serving people meals, obviously. We do about 830 hot lunches a month. Give you some idea. Varies a little bit, it's heavier during the summer when our snowbirds are with us, and then lightens up a little bit over the winter, but 830 is a good rough estimate. As I said, suggested donation of $5, $7, no one's turned away. All of our menus are nutritionally sound, and the menus change daily, and when the menus change, we put them out every month. Everything from Southwestern food to chili to, we do brunch on Sundays, barbecue. The big days are fried chicken and meatloaf. And we call those all hands on deck days, because it can be a stampede there some days with fried chicken and meatloaf. Those are our big ones. Our desserts are made fresh daily by our assistant cook. There's always one choice that is diabetic friendly, because we know that we do have some folks on diabetic diets. We've got folks on sodium controlled diets. We have some folks that have alpha-gal. You're hearing more and more about that. So we try to think about how we can be cognizant of various dietary needs that people might have. Soup we serve every day starting at 10:30. Soup and drinks are available. And then full lunch service begins at 11 and runs until 12:30. So that's our basic. And just to kind of give you a sense of how money could help and how various amounts could be helpful, $800 a week, for example, would help us out for a week's worth of food. So it gives you an idea of how much $800 difference could make to us. That would help us out with our food for a week. So you have somewhat of an idea there. We do various programs and various services. As I said, it's about tummies and about more than that. Learning and recreation, I said, we're about people's heads. We want people active. We want people engaged. We offer a class on computer literacy that folks can take. We have quilters that meet with us every Tuesday, the Dragon Threads, and they meet downstairs. Bless their hearts, they do amazing quilted work and different products, and they will do quilts for us to raffle off that help us with some fundraising, which is very kind. Right now we have one we're raffling that is a 250th anniversary quilt and is embroidered. I mean, it's beautiful. So we'll raffle that off. We have wood carvers that are in on Wednesday. So we always look forward to going in and cleaning up the sawdust when you're done on Wednesday. We have all kinds of different groups that meet for anything from Yahtzee to Bunko to Mahjong to cards, you name it, just different groups. Our line dancers, if they really want to get active, are in there with us on Thursday. And then Friday mornings, it's mat yoga and chair yoga. So it's a variety of things to try to keep people active, socialized, kind of getting out a little bit. We do, as I said, want to make life more fun. Town and Country, bless their hearts, when I approached them, they jumped at the chance. They are a birthday sponsor. So every month, the first Monday of the month, they donate a half a sheet cake to us. And we buy our ice cream in there. And then we celebrate everybody who has a birthday that month. And sing happy birthday, make a big deal over them, pamper them a little bit. So we do birthdays every holiday, and you'll see a lot of the pictures in the presentation here. These are all of our folks, various holidays and various things that we do. Every holiday, I just ordered the UPS truck pulled up yesterday in front of my house with the Easter goodies that I had ordered. So I got to take them. I live across the street from the center. That helps a lot. But every holiday, New Year's Eve, I would have given anything if y'all could have been there at New Year's Eve. I said, you know what? Who's going to be awake at midnight? So I looked around a little bit and realized there is it's an island, and it's a military base that's out in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And I said, you know what? I said, we're going to celebrate with the men and women of this military base. So we did a countdown, honest to goodness, y'all. We did a countdown at noon, at high noon. And it had noisemakers, and we had music, and we had party hats, and the cooks were like, what are they doing out there? I mean, some of them were getting rowdy. I told this one gentleman, I said, I'm going to take your tutor away if you don't behave yourself. But they were laughing and having so much fun. It was a blast. And I thought, how many folks wouldn't have marked it all? So it means the world, and greatest joy for us is to be there and to give them the hugs and to listen to their stories and to sometimes dry their tears and to celebrate life with them, to celebrate holidays. And it's neat because a lot of times if they have family visiting, they'll bring them in, hot dog, and everybody goes nuts when there's a baby in the place. Somebody will bring a grandbaby or great grandbaby in, and everybody just shoot baby in the house, which is phenomenal. I'm looking at doing a tea party. I've got a little 5-year-old girl who loves tea parties, and I thought, oh boy. So I'm thinking about putting a tea party together. Yeah, I think that'll be a whole lot of fun. So we do costumes, we do, here it is Valentine's Day, and I have on wings, angel wings, which is the closest I'll ever get to being an angel, and my little, heart things, and we're giving candy, and it's so much fun. They enjoy it. We have a blast. We do rely on our community partners very much. This is myself with Tom Gross, who is with the Knights of Columbus in Rotary. They recently were kind enough to present us a check. We partnered with healthcare providers in the area, other nonprofits, the Rotary Care Center, for example, other senior centers. We're trying to form a consortium of other senior centers to work together and maybe realize some economies of scale on food purchasing and things of that nature. We're trying everything we can. The Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri is extremely good to us. Lowe's, right after Aging Best left us, we had a flood in the basement. Okie dokie. And it meant that all of the shelving had to come out because it was particle board. You know what happens when MDF gets wet. You got to get rid of it. We had to cut the drywall out about 3 feet up. We had to take the cabinets out, get rid of them. It was a mess. Appliances, the kitchen downstairs. So I went to Lowe's and said, can y'all help us? And Lowe's was kind enough to give us a new range and a new refrigerator. Home Depot is coming out the 19th with the crew. They're giving us, how about, yay, Home Depot, bless your heart. They are giving us powder coated steel shelving, impervious to water. We're ready for the next one, for our crafts room, our storage room, and 2 stainless steel commercial prep tables for our kitchen. and totes and cleaning supplies. It's about $3,500 worth of product and then the labor that they're providing. So we're extremely grateful to them for that. As I said, the Community Foundation of the Ozarks we're working with and other organizations. So it makes a huge difference for us, needless to say. We're going to try this, see what happens. We're doing our first golf tournament. I plan special events all over this country and internationally for, again, 40 years as a volunteer thing at different nonprofit organizations. Never planned a golf tournament. I'm doing it now. The folks at Indian Rock are hosting us May 31st for our first golf tournament. So we're on the hunt now for sponsors for that. So here we go. We'll see how golf tournament goes. We have 40 plus volunteers that are the engine for the center. We have 3 paid employees and they are part-time. 2 of them are cooks, 1 is our administrator. Everybody else that makes this work, we are all volunteers. There's an organization called Independent Sector that puts a value on volunteer time, and the value per hour that they place on volunteer time, and this is used to calculate the value of volunteer time all over the nonprofit world. Actually, it's $34.79 an hour. How about that? I mean, that was surprising to me. So if we looked at the number of our volunteers and how much time they spend in the center, that was over $104,000 in volunteer time in 2025 alone. So without our volunteers, we would be lost. Our board is volunteer, our folks that work the dining room are volunteers, our folks that do the dishes, myself included. I always say it's the most fun you can have with beans and cottage cheese in your hair. We're all volunteers, the folks that work the front desk, our bookkeepers, our maintenance folks, we're all volunteers. So when we ask folks about, we can go ahead on the slide. When we ask folks about, how they can, or when folks ask us how they can help support the center, obviously come see us, come join us for lunch, come get involved. So certainly volunteer your time and talents, donate, which is one of the things we're talking about here today, and also advocate to help amplify those senior voices and things that our seniors need. I've got, at the end of this here, my contact information. So, and I've also got cards with me. So if you want to reach me at any point, you'll have the information to do that. There's our Miss Betty and our Miss Marcia. So that you can reach me if you need to. Questions that you have or anything else?
Stan Field still with us?
The name does not sound
Stanley.
familiar. That doesn't mean he's not still with us, but the name doesn't sound.
Well, I used to go to all our West Side socials for years. When he was active.
Yeah, the name does not sound familiar. Well, now we've been here 4 years, so it's possible that maybe we just haven't connected, but in a small community, I would think we would have. I'm just not familiar with the name.
How many people do you serve on a daily basis on average?
Again, it depends. It can be, it can be anywhere from 30 to 90.
Oh.
We, again, over the summer with the snowbirds and that and everybody back, it can go up, especially on Meatloaf or Fried Chicken Day. It really does depend. And then if folks have families and things coming in, we host the community Thanksgiving dinner, which is free for the community, and that's in conjunction with our local churches. What an effort. This is the first year I was involved with it, and I was just totally taken aback. We served 300 people, not including takeouts, in 2 hours time. It was nuts. I've never seen cooked turkeys fly before. Holy buckets, there was food flying everywhere. But so organized. They had the volunteers down and people were bringing stuff in the back door at the loading dock and we were putting it out of the ovens. It was nuts. But it's a beautiful effort. And to see everybody coming together, on Thanksgiving Day, it's probably the most meaningful Thanksgiving I think I've ever had in my life. I'm looking forward to doing it again next year.
So with our grant, what would you be using? Is there a specific use for the money?
That's a really good question. Food, obviously, that's one of our major expenses. It's $44,000 a year roughly for our food. And then it's things like keeping the lights on, you know, it's power, it's operations. We are in a 30-year-old building. And as I keep reminding folks, you know, as we budget every year, it's like we've got to think about those maintenance costs keep going up. 2 weeks ago, our water heater went out. So again, I'm calling around trying to find, you know, if somebody can donate a water heater or, you know, and we've got somebody that can help us, you know, install it. They use a geothermal pump. I'm sure some of y'all know a lot more about this than I do. The geothermal pump has a backup because when it goes down, everything goes down from what I understand. The backup is shot. It's $3,700 and we're going through this right now, which is why I've got these numbers top of mind. $3,700 to get the pump rehabbed, and I'm waiting on the cost for the install on that. So, you know, we had $15,000 in for the budget. This is March, and we know we've got the water heaters. We know we've got that pump in the install. We had a hunk of concrete out front on the sidewalk that a tree root had popped up. And of course, it was right in front of the handicap space. It's dedicated to wheelchairs. Perfect. So can't have that. So I had to have somebody come out, jackhammer that out, you know, get rid of that darn tree root, put in a new sidewalk for us. That's done. It got done 2 weeks ago. So, but it's always something. You know how it is. Anybody that owns a home or a business, you know how that goes. But yeah, I keep telling folks, this is 30 years old. So, you know, I found the invoice the other day going through some paperwork. The last time the HVAC was replaced was 2018. So, you know, it's like, okay. But that's where we are.
How many square foot is the?
Oh my goodness, I wish I had that number for you. It's a big facility. I was amazed. People come in all the time and say, I've driven by here for 40 years, never knew y'all, you know, what you did, or what, and they come in and they're amazed. Again, the upstairs is the big dining room, the big industrial kitchen. There is a library where folks come in and take out books and puzzles. There's a boardroom, there's offices, then downstairs, it's
Bigger.
everything. Oh yeah, everything again. So it's a good size physical plant. It's a good size physical plant that we're trying to heat and cool and maintain, and yeah, it's definitely. Anything else?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for running the show over there.
But before we're done, there's always more little things that we're gonna make you do.
Hey, that's never an
Into
issue.
a dancing song.
That's never an issue.
So what we do for our speakers is we donate 10 vaccines for